Okay, so yesterday I gave a rundown of all the 12 zodiac signs and the things that they can expect, specific things that they can expect in the next 2.5 years. Do realize that this is a general explanation of the way that this particular energy can play out. Do realize also that a natal chart, a nativity, comprises of multiple variations, not to this specific thing that I will mention, but to other aspects of your life. So what I am sharing is just a small portion of the experiences that you can have in the next 2.5 years, but there's so much more to a nativity that cannot be expressed in this particular video. So when I do explain some of the scenarios that could happen with the 12 zodiac signs, do realize also that what I am explaining is the possibilities for your sun sign as well as your rising sign. So for instance, if I say Aries, I am speaking to Aries sun people, as well as those who have Aries rising or Aries ascendant signs. It will pertain more to those with Aries rising and ascendant than it will the sun, Aries, but it will still have correlations to you with that sun sign, okay? I hope you understand that. So, yeah, so I'm just going to give a brief explanation of some of the scenarios that could transpire in all the 12 zodiac signs in the next 2.5 years. So for Aries, this conjunction that will be happening that everyone's talking about, right? On December 21st, right? It is big, and I spoke about it yesterday, why it is larger than just normal phases. In fact, this energy has not shown itself in these areas in the zodiac wheel for almost 200 years. Additionally, it hitting on this exact day, the 21st of December, is very enormous, very huge. This is not to say December 21st, there will be some mass event, but what it's saying is that the energy that is ignited at this time, and especially with the added ingredient of this grand conjunction of these planets, then this is larger than we can expect. And so it will play out in the earthly realm. It will play out in the worldly realm, the collective humanity, and even our own individual lives. It'll be more obvious as we look out into the world how it's playing out, and it takes months, even years, for this energy to finish its job. It's a process energy. So when some astrologers are giving information about a specific day, it's important that it be highlighted to everyone that that doesn't mean that that particular day you will see the repercussions of that energy. What it means is that in astro talk and astro knowledge, that energies have a sequence of expressions. And so there can be a sequence of events that lead up to things, and there can be varying ways that it can play out. This has to be understood astrologically, or else there is a disservice to the art of astrology. Energy has varying ways that it can express itself. It has themes and patterns, but depending on the cause and then the effects of it are really what the energies are really speaking. And so astrology works whether you believe it or not. And in retrospect, astrology, hindsight is 2020, will show you even more of what was really being relayed and expressed through the details of the energies that an astrologer deciphers, decodes, and translates. Okay? So I hope that made sense. But anyway, so the 12 signs of the zodiac, this is how in the next 2.5 years, this grand conjunction that is a rarity and an opportunity, which I talked about yesterday with over 500 people on my live feed, this energy is an opportunity. And so, okay, so let me just get into it for you. So if you are an Aries sun or an Aries rising, in the next 2.5 years, this one detail of energy, there's so many more, but this one detail of energy will be affecting your hopes, your dreams, and your wishes. All of the things that you have put all of your energy into, all of your sweat and your tears, working in your career, trying to better yourself with your career, doing everything that you can, you put in the work. And it almost seemed as though nothing that you were giving was paying off, right? I mean, come on, you built an empire, but yet it's not evidential to you or to anyone else. Well, now is the time for this opportunity to finally become reality for you. This area of energy can affect the possibilities of that concentration that you've been putting out in your life. That blood, sweat, and tears can finally pay off. It's not going to still be easy, but you will begin to see the resistance pull away that has been making you feel like you were being pushed down or frustrated. That frustration will begin to feel like there's an alleviation happening. And so be prepared for that. Understand when you see the things that you have been putting out there, the things that you have desired to come to fruition, when you see that begin to happen within the 2.5-year process, understand that that is because you are an Aries rising, one, and Aries sun has the same possibilities. Not as strong as a rising Aries, but nonetheless still. So if you are a Taurus sun or a Taurus rising, this is how these energies can play out for you. These energies can play out with you becoming more and more independent and different. And there's already energies that have been on you for the last couple of years that already are creating this unique personality of you that no one can really understand. It's like you're becoming this rebel. You are acting against the grain, and people around you cannot understand this because they're used to you being a certain way. They're used to your fixed nature. And so here you are now, you're being reinvented. You're this new person. You are evolving. You are becoming very independent and not being so much concerned with what everyone else thinks about you, because in order for you to live in your space and feel happy with yourself, you must first accept that you are different, that you are special, and that you cannot be put in a box. Okay? And so you'll notice within the next 2.5 years that even your belief system may change. Your career could change. You're just this new peg, and you're finding your way to how you will now express yourself into the world as this different person. So expect to see those changes, Taurus sun, Taurus rising. They will be big. And as I mentioned before, there's other planets that are also highlighting this for you. Accept what makes you special and what makes you different, and put that out into the world. Okay? Gemini rising and Gemini sun. This is a very opportune time for you to increase your spirituality. This is within the next 2.5 years. You are going to find that your curiosity in spiritual systems and understandings and research and all of that, higher learning, college, universities, you just will have this hunger to know more. To know more, not to read more and read other people's stuff and quote them. You will have a desire to experience them yourself, to go out there. Maybe you'll take an internet college course. You just want to learn another trade. You want to learn another science, philosophy, spiritual systems, maybe astrology. Just something that is not earthly, also something that is above the normal data and information that people receive here. You want to understand the bigger picture. You want to grow and expand spiritually. And because of that, I do know that we are on a lockdown with COVID and travel is restricted. But on whatever level this may express itself, if anyone is going to travel long distance and abroad this year and in the next 2.5 years, it will be the Gemini sun or Gemini rising. So expect that if you are called on a long journey, that this is part of the process for you in this next 2.5 years because of this grand conjunction. It is moving you into these spaces. It is urging your soul to want to discover, uncover, to grow, and to expand. Okay? So let's say that the lockdown prevents you from traveling. The planes, I mentioned in my video yesterday that there will be a restriction on airline travel in the next 2.5 years. For you, though, let's say that is the case. So now this urge and this impetus to travel is restricted. For you, that could be part of your frustration, is that you want to travel and that you can't. So there are varying ways in which this can play out, but the idea of growth, expanding, traveling far away, not to your local places, is on your soul's energy field. And that is because it is seeking out growth of knowledge and experience. It wants to experience and not just read about it in a book. Okay? So that is Gemini sun, Gemini rising. So if you are a Cancer sun or a Cancer rising, this is going to hit you in areas that most people don't want to speak about, in public, around children. And that is sexual areas. Perhaps you might become more sexually driven with your partner. You might explore different ways that you can, maybe you'll explore sexual magic, things like that. Maybe you won't, but just sex will be more of a theme for you within the next 2.5 years. You will grow spiritually through the process of sex, believe it or not. That is true astrologically. And so this will also develop your psychological comprehension of your growth. Okay, your knowledge of the unknown, really, or the darker areas of life. Maybe you'll comprehend why you feel the way you do about sex. It could be that simple, right? And so these will be deep, not subtle and surface psychological transformations for you. You're going to have these eurekas of comprehension of things that you never even knew that you could even have. It's a very spiritual 2.5 years for you. It could almost be like the Gemini that is evolving spiritually. For you, that could be the case too. I mean, you could begin to study the occult, right? You could also, let's say maybe you could inherit money, or let's say you've invested money in the stock market and you've saved your money so that you can eventually benefit from it. Well, this could be a time period also where in the next 2.5 years, you could actually see the product of your investments come to fruition. Okay. And so that is for Cancer Sun and Cancer Rising. For Leo Sun and Leo Rising, this will affect you in your area of your partnerships, your relationships with other people, how it is that you establish reciprocity in relationships, a give and a take, a balance, 50-50, and whether it is 50-50 or is it 20, what is that, 2090, right? 2080, is it 2080 or 50-50? Is it fair? Is it balanced? Are you able to shine in the relationships that you're in, or is your light dimmer because of these relationships? These relationships will be tested. They will be tested for their longevity and their ability to withstand a test. They will be tested. And so expect that. Some people may get married, or, you know, some people could even get divorced at this time period, Leo Sun and Leo Rising. So just comprehend that this great conjunction has now initiated the conversation of interrelationships, you and other people. It could even be business. Maybe you find a business partner, or you get rid of the business partner that you have because you realize it's not working out. You get it? So it could affect in all different ways like that, you and other people. And just consider the idea that ideally relationships in theory should work fairly, right? So if you find yourself in scenarios where there seems to be a disparity, there seems to be an unequal exchange, and there seems to be an incident around this type of conversation, just realize that this is part of your process because of this ignition from the cosmos. Okay, so that is Leo Sun, especially Leo Rising or Leo Ascendant. Okay, if you are a Virgo, this grand conjunction will be igniting or setting off themes that deal with your health. Whether, we have COVID going around. Maybe you're a nurse, you work in the health industry, and you have patients that have COVID. So it could be that, stuff like that. You know, maybe you take care of patients, maybe you're in the healthcare industry, maybe you deal with herbs, natural, or maybe you could get sick. Maybe it could be something as small as a cold, or you could get COVID, but overcome COVID. You get it? So it could be that your mind will be meant or forced to focus on the issues of taking care of your physical body. Okay, so whether it's your teeth, whether it's your routine, what you do from day to day, your responsibilities, your structure, organizing your life will be very, very big in this time period for you in the next 2.5 years. How is your life structured? What do you do when you get up in the morning? What do you do on Mondays, Tuesdays? All of that will come into your vision, and you will have to concentrate on how you do that. You may have to reshape it, reform it. You might have to tweak it. You might have to pay more attention to it and see if it works for you. And if it doesn't work for you, then you will have to revamp those things. Let's say you started a new health routine, but somehow those herbs that you're using or the health routine is not helping you. So this energy could say, okay, you see this isn't helping you. Now you're going to have to do more research to find out what does. So do you see how this can work, right? So again, you could even, let's say you changed jobs a couple of years ago. Now you're kind of organizing your desk, organizing what you do from day to day at work. Maybe they gave you an upgrade at work, a promotion. So now your whole way of even doing work from day to day, the structure of work changes for you. So again, so take care of your health, do really good, take your doctor's appointments. When you have it, get a physical, do all of those things. Virgo Sun, Virgo Rising. Okay. So if you are a Libra, This is really interesting. If you are a Libra sun or Libra rising, for you this next 2.5 years, and again, this is not your whole natal chart that I'm talking about. I'm talking about one theme that will be happening out of the many. I'm speaking of one specific area. So for Libra sun or Libra rising, it's very interesting for you because you are going to be learning and tweaking the area of romance in your life, whether it's a significant other or, you know, maybe you romance yourself. See how astrology works? No one can say this is how it expresses itself. We can give you ideas of these scenarios and the varying ways that it can play itself out. So it could be romance, you know, maybe you have a romantic partner and you're beginning to learn more about them. You know, maybe your relationship with them is getting stronger and it's enduring more. It's building its ability to endure the harsh times that may come in the future. Maybe it's being tested, your romance, your social life, what you do, you know, how do you unwind? How do you have fun? All of those areas are what will be part of your concentration at this time. And believe it or not, some of you Libras, if you don't want to have a baby, you better be careful because this is the time that you can get pregnant and have a baby within the next 2.5 years. Okay, so being aware, if you are a Libra rising, just know that. Libra sun, the possibilities for having children will be coming up within the next 2.5 years. So that, and if you already have children, then the theme of enjoying those children, helping them to express themselves, it could play out that way as well. You'll have a concentration on your children, those that whatever it is you create out of yourself. Let's say you sing or dance or you write, you'll be expressing that more, ways that can make you shine more. And it'll most likely be in relationships with other people as well. Maybe you begin to share in how you entertain yourself. You know, maybe you'll have people go out with you more. Maybe you'll plan for people to come to your home more, or just something that deals with enjoying yourself and enjoying other people. And if you're not enjoying them, if there's no equal, then it'll be tested. Okay. So if you don't want a baby, you better be careful. All right. So that's Libra sun and especially Libra rising. So Scorpio rising, Scorpio sun. For you, this is going to hit you in the area of home, your home life, not when you're out in the world at your job and doing all that stuff. That could be other stuff in your chart. But this grand conjunction will be emphasizing home matters. What happens in your home, how your house works. Is it secure? Is it safe? How is it functioning? And so those things will now be looked at. You might even want to redo your house. You may even move. You could possibly move houses, and you may even buy a new house. Whatever it is, the focus is honing in on home. What is home? And how is home working? Is it benefiting everyone in the family? Everyone in this particular space of yours? How is it working? Does it need to be tweaked? Do you need to have more, matters that are frustrating in your home? Is it going to make it where you have to move, or you're put out of your house, you lose your house, or you just chose to move? So you're buying a house. So it could be good. It could be the bad. It could be however it plays out, but just understand and comprehend that the theme is home. Okay. So that is Scorpio rising, Scorpio sun. For Sagittarius rising, Sagittarius sun, this is going to deal with matters of research, going on the computer, doing research, data, building your intellect, what you know, what knowledge you're gathering in information, how much you're retaining. Let's say you have you're inquisitive about a matter, at this time, your soul and spirit will lead you to go find a book on it or to do research on it. Stuff that you didn't want to, you didn't pay attention to before, or you didn't even have a desire to investigate. Not investigate, but research. Now you are going to, your soul is going to want to research and to read and to expand the information that you have exposed yourself to. So even your siblings may become a bigger part in your life. You might have to, let's say dealing with work or whatever, you now work from home. And so now you didn't really know the computer, but now you have to figure it out. This energy will give you the energy to do that. It's going to be frustrating. It's going to feel restricting, but you will have to learn how to navigate the computer so that you can communicate with other people. Maybe you have to do work where you have meetings. You're going to have to learn how to do all of that. Okay. And also how to Google stuff. You'll be Googling, you'll be talking to people on social media. All of that will be your focus in that one particular area for the next 2.5 years. Maybe you'll even write a book or something like that. Maybe not, but it could happen. So for the Capricorn rising or Capricorn sun, this could be happening in your area of your money. Okay, so this is more financial for you. So in the next 2.5 years, when you begin to see themes in your life that deal with your finances, comprehend and remember this discussion, because this is part of that 2.5-year expression that for you will be focused on your finances. How do you build your finances? How have you done that? You know, learning how to invest long term. You know, maybe you're looking at your life and you're getting up there in age and you don't have a retirement fund. You don't have a 401k. You don't have any of that stuff. Well, now you'll be forced to concentrate on that. Let's say maybe you could even lose money. And just comprehend the lesson of this, because losing money can symbolically and figuratively tell you that you better start fixing this because you're getting old. You know, because this area wants to deal with long term, looking down the road ahead, not right now. How's long term your finances looking? So if you are not expressing this energy out of yourself, then that energy gets stuck within you. So you'll create circumstances and situations, because it is not being excised out of you. There'll be scenarios and situations where you'll lose money. You'll be broke, or you'll lose a great amount of an investment. Maybe you invested something in the stock market and that falls. Just comprehend and know that that is a part of this 2.5-year expression and growth period. So what it is that we need to see and comprehend is put in the forefront, whether it is positive or negative. These are the experiences we will have, so that we take note and we understand the practicality of that experience. And so if you lose money and you are financially unstable, the practicality, because you have to live on this plane, is to figure out how you are going to stabilize and create stability and security within your financial network. Do you get this? That is how it will work for you. It'll be frustrating, but you got to do it. And if you don't pay attention during these 2.5 years, it'll be stuck in you. And what will happen in 3 years, 4 years? You got to think about that. Okay. So for Aquarius, this is going to happen in the way that you project your self-image. Who are you? How do you identify yourself, Aquarius? You know, You know, let's say that you were religious at one time, and that is how you introduced yourself. You know, hey, I'm Vera, I'm a Catholic, right? Let's say you said that, whatever your name is. But then, because this whole past number of years, decade or more, has transformed the way people see religion, let's say you no longer believe in that religion at all anymore, and you stopped doing it. Now, when you introduce yourself, you'll say, hi, I'm Vera. And you're not going to add Catholic to that identification. How you identify yourself is going to completely change within the next 2.5 years. You may become a revolutionary. You may rebel against all of the images or the identities that people have put on you. You know, your parents made you Catholic, right? If you were born with that religion, right? If someone is, you know, let's say you decide to dye your hair purple, you're not going to ask for forgiveness for that, because you will be transforming how you project yourself into the world. And that will be tantamount and tied into how you feel about yourself. How do you feel about you, Aquarius, Sun and Rising? Do you like yourself? Do you feel that you are worthy and to honor yourself, and to not attempt to fit in if you don't feel like you do? Do you feel left out, so you want to fit in? Well, now these energies will frustrate those plans. It will not let you fit in. It'll make you show why you are different. And within the next 2.5 years, it'll tell you how those old identities no longer express who you are. So who are you after all this is done? Who are you? And so write it down. I am what? Write it now, because in 2.5 years, it's going to be changed. It's going to be different. Some people could get divorced, let's just say. You know, some people could completely leave their career. Just everything that you were, you can change now. You can make different now. You will be forced to redefine who you are. Okay? So guys, when you see people just changing and things happening, it is not for nothing. It is not a coincidence. It is not just happenstance. This is cosmological downloads. So for the Pisces, which is the last one, Pisces Sun or Pisces Rising, this will affect you in your isolation. You know, it'll be frustrating, because you may be put in isolation. And I don't mean that someone's going to come and put you in isolation, handcuff you and put you away. Some people could manifest that way. Some people could manifest in rehab, somewhere behind closed doors where you're not really going to be around others much. You could even do it for yourself, where you now are on this journey to uncover and discover who God is. What is God, right? How can you answer that when you live in an earthly realm? Especially since you're Pisces, and Pisces says, I believe. So what do you believe? And if you don't know, then what will help you more align to that conversation and figuring it out? You'll have to be alone to do it. You'll have to be in isolation to know yourself. You will be forced to inspect yourself in quiet, to go inside, maybe meditation, maybe just writing poetry and expressing what is inside of your soul and bringing it out. Because if you are not having conversations with yourself, Pisces Sun and Pisces Rising, then you are not having any intimacy with your soul. And at this next 2.5 year period, your soul will crave and will cry out and give you dissatisfaction amongst the groups of people and the people outside of your quiet little space. Go in your chamber, right? You will be forced to go into your solitude and your chamber. And there is where you can learn what is higher spirituality, what we cannot touch with our hands. Maybe it'll be astrology or things like that. You're here on this channel, or it could be just trying to discover what is beyond this realm somehow, in some way. Maybe you will connect with your intuition that you've always had, but you ignored because you were religious at one time. Or maybe your intuition, because so many people were around in your space, and you Pisces are like a sponge. You just soak up other people's stuff so much that you don't even know what belongs to you and what belongs to them anymore. That could be frustrating. And so maybe now you are being charged to go inside, literally and figuratively. And so there is where the structure begins, you know, the structure breakdown, and not wanting sometimes with Pisces, because they don't want to see the reality of what is, of the world that we live in, or even themselves. They tell themselves stories and fantasies and illusions. They escape some alcohol, some drugs, some religion. They're the fanatics sometimes, not all, but sometimes, because Pisces are so spiritual that to exist in this realm that is so messed up, it's very difficult for them. And so whatever lies you've told to yourself to be able to cope here, you'll now have to examine and restructure that. It's a wonderful thing. Wonderful thing. I am not a Pisces, but I've been forced into solitude by my downloads. And that is where and why I am here today. What begins now in 2.5 years will begin the process of who you are in 3 years. Okay? And so, guys, enjoy these moments. Learn from these moments. Reflect on these moments, because they are just not a passing phase. Nothing is. Nothing is a passing phase. Everything that is done is for a reason. And this is why the Bible says there is nothing new under the sun. There is a time for reaping, a time for joy, a time for crying, a time for death. Everything there is a time for. Why? Because it is speaking of astrology. So for all the 12 zodiac signs that I shared 2.5 years for you, what will be some of the themes for you? Just know that this is the time and the cycle for those things to occur, because they will now give birth to the next cycles of life and years to come. Thank you.